But all right, now that we got that out the way, now we can get on to the fun stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I know you've had a few business ventures. What was your most unique business venture or most fun business venture in your opinion?
It's good questions. My my most unique one was probably being a professional wrestler. Because a lot of people don't really get into that. They'll watch it on TV if it's on, or see highlights, or everybody knows who John Cena and The Rock and Hulk Hogan are now. This is not this face is not for Hulk Hogan. I'm not a big fan of Hogan. Um, but yeah, that was fun in a lot of ways because it's so unique because you have to put on a show about every weekend because you go into a different area with a different crowd for 10 minutes. You only have you at best you have 10 minutes to make a crowd love or hate you in that 10 minutes. Most of them don't have a clue who you are. You hear your music, you walk, like, unless you're just a big name that's on the poster that brought them to the show, most of the time they don't have a clue who you are. So they have to just hate you or love you from the start. And you have 10 minutes to just sell them on it. And that's so much, it's so fun and it's so unique because there's no other place like that. As a server, we have an entire hour and a half, like, to make somebody like us or hate us based on our service, and I'm sure we've had a plethora of both. But it's so fun just to get that because you're in a situation where a crowd can love you in an instant or they can hate you in an instant, and you have that ability to make them do either one. Most of the time, I was always the bad guy, so they always hated me, which makes it easy because I just have to go out there, break some rules, cheat, go to high five a young child fan and then just pull it back. That'll make a crowd hate you quick. The first time I ever walked to the ring by myself, a kid was about to give me a high five, and I was like, "Yeah, no, go away." And the entire crowd was just like, "Oh, come on, that's a kid, boo!" And everybody just started booing me, and they didn't have a clue who I was, and that they were already going to hate me because I came out first, and the hero came out second. The guy I wrestled was a guy named Johnny Flex. He was out of Colombia. The man had done 30 years in the industry. He had been trained through Colombia. His hometown was Colombia. They all knew who he was the second his music hit, which made them hate me more. So it's always unique to have that, especially, because I have 99% of the crowd hate me because of the 1% I brought with me.
Yeah.
Like, my mom and dad were sitting in the audience, and they were just like, "Do we boo our own son? I don't think we do." And I was just, and I told them before we started, I was like, "Hey, boo me. I don't care. Start a chant against me. I don't care. Whatever you need to do." And then you also have that camaraderie in the locker room because you're all guys working together. You're all guys that have been from a vast amount of places and just a completely different backgrounds, all just being like, "Hey, let's go put on a show." All right, let's go do this. And most of the time it's just giant human beings in the back, just like, "Hey, let's all go put on a show. What do you want to do?" And I was like, and you're just like, "Oh, well, let's have some fun out there," So that's probably the most unique because you don't get that with an everyday experience.
I gotta ask the question.
Sure.
That everybody wants to know, because you've been on the other side. Is wrestling real or fake? I feel like that's a groundbreaking question.
That's a groundbreaking question. You're going to get that from every wrestler and every wrestling fan, and it's real to a degree. yes, I go to every event, and once I get to the event, I know the outcome. I know the outcome. I know how long we're supposed to take. That's the only two things that they're going to give me. So I have to genuinely get with another person and then put together a show that's, 8 to 10 minutes long. So like, as far as the outcome is very fake because most of it is very scripted because that's where we got to get to. But everything else is real.
Yeah.
Anybody, and if anybody thinks that it is fake, I implore you, go to any wrestling school and ask them, like, hey, teach me how to take a bump. Take a bump in the ring. Then find out, is this real or fake? After that, because that's going to be your telling point in anything. And I still hate it. I still hate it to this day. Just getting in there and taking a bump by yourself may be the worst thing to do in wrestling. Like I've been thrown out of the ring. I've been hit with chairs, whatever. But like, it's real. It's real to that degree. Like it very much hurts. And they say every match is a car crash that you go through. And every time you see like some scars and some like bruises like on a wrestler's body, it's like, that's real. It's like nobody, he didn't just make that happen in the back, or they didn't just make up that or do a makeup tutorial. Like as good as some of these guys are at their art and their craft, is like, they're not good makeup artists. So they're not going to like be able to make a bruise happen. And from somebody that's been bruised about everywhere at this point in time, it's very real. You definitely need athletic ability to do it. Like you can't just hop off the couch one day and be like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. Be like, good luck. Like, I mean, I'll wish you luck to try. I'll wish you luck to try it. I'd love to, I'd love to get everybody in the ring and take a bump. Like just take a suplex, take a scoop slam, whatever. And like, I'd love to get a before and after question, just like, oh, wrestling's fake, and then be like, okay, let me give you a little slam here, and then slam them, and then be like, no, never mind, it's completely fake, it's real. I'm out of breath. But it is. But I mean, at the same time, like it's a show. Like at the end of the day, it's a show. So like me and another person, we have to work together in almost a dance-like format so that we don't hurt each other and we put on the best show that we can.
Yeah. Who's your favorite wrestler? I'll tell you mine. Easily mine's The Undertaker for sure.
Good old Mark Calloway is a great choice. Also a great person. I got to meet him once. I'd passed by him, said something to him, and he didn't have to say anything back to me. He's the Undertaker. Like he could have just like whatever, but he was just like, hey, how's it going? Like just a quick like acknowledgement of his day. Like he didn't, and he probably doesn't remember that. He probably has done that millions of times and doesn't remember that he's done that. But that makes that person's day. And the Undertaker's a great one. For me, I had grown up on Stone Cold and The Rock, and I loved all of them. I loved Sting. Sting was one of my favorites. Lex Luger was one of my favorites as well. And what they tell you when you start going to wrestling school is that your favorites will change once you go to wrestling school. However, for me, that was not the case. My favorites became stronger, and my favorite will be John Cena. Just because I got to see the Raw in the prototype going into the Doctor of Thugonomics, yeah. and going into Never Give Up John Cena, and now going into his retirement tour, which I'm hoping to get a chance to see and be a part of, because I definitely want that T-shirt.
I remember seeing his first. I think the first time they actually brought him to WWE and they showed his like audition video, he was rapping on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah. He made an album, and I listened to a handful of songs off that album. It was an interesting time all around. But yeah, I'd love Cena. from having met Cena and done some work with the WWE. Those guys, they have the ability to just make everybody's day, and they don't have to stop and say hi to people, but most of them do. Most of them will just stop and say hi to people, and it becomes fun, like, at that point, because you don't at that level you don't understand how much your influence is just to be able to make somebody's day.